it's amazing how sports pull you into being connected like that with family and other people around the world.
So coming from that soccer-rich area which you grew up in, and your dad, did that high standard of play make a difference on your coaching style once you got into the States?
It was hard at first. I'll be very honest. My first teaching job, we were in Central Virginia. Football is king there. I worked with a girls team the first year, and then the second and third year we were there. I got a boys team, and I was a varsity coach at 24, which was fun. Certainly learned a lot at that point because, I'm literally 6 years older than the guys I'm supposed to be coaching. New to the country, new to the area, and connecting with those guys was an interesting experience on top of, the other simple things that come with coaching, being organized, connecting with parents, and being a disciplinarian when you need to be. It was a difficult transition because obviously at school you don't go off and recruit and bring in guys, and so I really like that Mike Heights guy, I'm going to go and chase him down and bring him into my team. Get what you get. And I was really fortunate in Virginia that football was a fall sport and soccer was a spring sport. And I had a good group of quality soccer players, but I had a good group of football players. And they would come in and they'd be hardworking, but they were a different type of soccer player. And I had to adjust very quickly to how to use them. It's like, okay, we'll still want you fundamentally to know how to receive a ball, pass a ball, shoot a ball. But it really challenged my mental approach of this is not home anymore. Okay, this is a new experience, but we were a very diverse group. I had some very talented, skilled players. And then I had a kid that was going to go and play in college as a linebacker. He's my goalkeeper. And I'm like, okay, you got great hands and you're not scared of going to hit a kid when you're coming out your box and things like that. So it was challenging and took a little bit of, realization, probably a bit longer than I would like to admit of, you've got to be flexible, but you've also got to be rigid. And it's like, where do you draw the line between what you value as a coach and what you want to express to your players in the way that you want them to play in their style, and what you kind of is your identity as a team. I've never been a big fan of the idea of, you hear coaches say, oh, you gotta work with the tools that you have. It's like, well, sometimes I'm a bit pig-headed and I know the way I want to play and I know the way I want my players to play. And sometimes I need my players to be a bit more flexible in the way that we do things and conform. I hate to use that word, but to the way that we know is going to be a successful way to build a program, build a team, a good season. But going into that, it's not really a hotbed of soccer talent in Central Virginia. Great kids, wonderful families, very connected to the schools, very, very, very similar actually to Hilton. It was really a fun challenge and probably pushed me more those years with my coaching skills, my coaching knowledge. Made me question things a lot, but it was a great learning experience and a whole lot of fun. It was a good time. I think probably the most important thing that is kind of, as I get a little bit more reflective and a little bit older, I don't want to admit that I'm getting older. I want to be Peter Pan. I don't want to age. We always say soccer is a very passionate sport, but you go to any sporting event, there's passion there. Everybody gets kind of riled up and into things, you hope. Sometimes I think in the past I've been very reactive in moments, enjoying a moment, flustered by a moment, angered by a moment. And I think there's a tendency sometimes that we get a little too emotional. And I think I've learned how to, and Duff would probably say I still need to learn a little bit more because he is like Mr. Cool on the sideline. But I think I'm doing a much better job these days of channeling those emotions into something that's more productive than being obnoxious and loud and things like that. I get into it, and I value getting into it, and I don't think anyone should scream and shout for the heck of screaming and shouting. But if you can't get your troops rallied and you can't show them what it means to you, then how do you expect them to show you what it means to them? And that's something I've always valued as a part of coaching. It's like, we need to get people fired up. We need people fired up. We need people into it. So I feel like as I've got older, I've been a bit more reflective about take a breath. Okay, don't let that cloud your judgment. Don't let that change how you're going to respond. I feel like I am always respectful of referees. I probably give some referees a bit of a hard time, but what a coach doesn't. But I think as I've got a little bit more experience, I've become a little bit more disciplined in my emotional responses. And I think that's made me a better coach. And I do give Brian a lot of credit for that, because he is very calm, very level-headed. It's great when he gets fired up, because there's real reason
for him to get fired up.
And the boys love that too. But I think that's kind of our yin-yang relationship that we have. We feed off each other very well, and I learn a lot from him, and hopefully he learns a couple of things from me from time to time. So, but yeah, I think that maturity, emotional maturity of knowing that if your player is looking over the sideline and you're absolutely losing your mind, the effect that has on them. And then does that spur them on to lose their mind and do something reckless? I don't know if I'll ever be the cool cucumber on the side, just kind of taking it in and not showing emotion, but I've certainly learned to taper that a little bit.
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed our time on the podcast, and I've learned a lot about you.
Thank you.
I've learned a lot of the underlying foundation from you, from your upbringing. Hilton Soccer's in really good hands, and my daughter has spoken very highly of you. I really appreciate you being on the podcast. My budget being as it is, I can only offer you a Big H podcast.
Oh, I saw these on the microphone, and I love it.
That's for you. Now,
thank you.
Don't put that on your laptop, because it goes against the rules.
I didn't get that message because I have a lot of things on my laptop. So
but I do look.
This is amazing.
You mentioned some guys there like Brian Duffy and John Schwind. I think those are guys that I want to also sit down and talk with.
Yeah.
And I've just really appreciated you getting to know you. This guy's a class act. He walked in my doorway with flowers and a card for my wife. That's class. And when you talked about taking over Hilton Soccer, and you never wanted to be disrespectful to people that had success before, you did bring that Brit element, that class, and that degree of standard to Hilton. I
appreciate that.
And I keep it going for years to come.
Thank you. It's you got to know where you come from, but know what you're involved in and where that's come from. And people put, coaching is a lot of fun, but not always the most appreciated role in kids' lives. And I look at the list of guys that coached before me, and I want to respect that, and I want our guys to know that too. So I appreciate you saying that.
Your emblem there says Hilton Soccer, established in 1949, which is and then the HVE. Tell our listeners and audience a little bit about what that stands for.
So that comes from Brian Duffy's days at the high school. I know it was kind of big with his classes, Hilton versus everyone, kind of the siege mentality of, I know that year, I think it was like Duff's senior year or Duff and John's junior year that they won sectionals of baseball. Maybe it was their senior year. I'm blanking on his first name. Fowler. Andy was kind of like the hype guy for the student body, and
the general manager of all sports.
I mean, he was really kind of the drummer boy, got everybody going to the games and everything. And I believe that came either from Andy or somebody within that class. And Duff had just said it a couple of times. So I'm like, well, why aren't we using that? We kind of be into the heads of the boys, the Fortress LeBeau. I don't ever want to disrespect our field and not use Dick LeBeau's name. It's like, you want to go defend Fortress LeBeau, that's got to be a siege mentality that somebody drives all the way out to little old Hilton. They're going to leave with a headache. That's what we want. We don't want anybody to leave LeBeau Field knowing that they've had it their way. And that was kind of our thing. Like, Fortress LeBeau, pushing. And then Duff kind of brought that up. And I'm like, we need to use that. And even a lot of the kids now at school, like, they have no idea what it is, but it sounds like a silly thing, but that's siege mentality. You got to get behind each other. I gotta go to your games. You gotta go to my games. I gotta be screaming and getting you all riled up, and you gotta be doing the same for me. And it's contagious when you get that going with the kids. And the boys, when they hear it, even our younger guys like that are new to the program, we tell them what it means and we push that with them, and it's like, that's interesting. Like, yeah, that should be how you approach things, whether it's with us or whether you go and play basketball for Coach Prince or you're playing lacrosse or drag. There's nothing wrong with having the pride of saying it's us versus the world. I think so many people that please us and they don't want to let anybody down and they don't want to seem like they're being kind of divisive. It's not a divisive thing. It's we're pulling together to represent that. That's the goal. Why shouldn't it be us versus everyone? We're respectful. We value Section 5. We're proud of being a Section 5 team. At the end of the day, we want to win. We want to be successful. We want to bring an award back. We want to put our numbers up on that, those nice banners we've got there in the gym. Why not rally the troops? And the kids get into that. It's fun. And I feel, not to get old and philosophical, but as the kids are changing and we're seeing transition with young people, I think it's sometimes they're a little too cool for that. It's like, no, you don't get a choice with me. It's like, you're either in or you're out, because I'm in.
Right.
And you're going to make the decision whether you're in.
Right.
Because if you're not, you're out.
Right.
And it's not a personality. It's like, buy-in is buy-in. And if you're not going to buy in, then we're not going to be successful.
The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find